Hey, what's up? It's Hillary. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going through some books that I've recently hauled from various sources, from some used bookstores, from Pango, and then a few new releases that I'm really excited about. So a few days ago, I decided that I wanted to go on Pango and look up some used copies of some of my favorite books and get some shelf trophies so that I can start building out my library of read books and include some of my absolute favorites on there. I also recently discovered a couple of authors where I really want to go back and read some of their backlog and get into these authors more. So you're going to see that reflected in my purchases. So starting off on Pango, I got a shelf trophy of The Someday Garden because I am so happy to say that I absolutely loved this book. This was my first book by Ashley Poston, and now I'm going to be going on an Ashley Poston journey. I already own The 7-Year Slip. It is on my July TBR, and then at my local used bookstore, I got The Dead Romantics. Now I'm definitely noticing with Ashley Poston, or at least the 3 that I have and plan to read, they're very much in the yellow and orange color scheme. Look at that. So once I read all of these, they will be lovely together on my color-coded library shelves. I also wanted to show you because the Pango bookseller that I bought The Someday Garden from really went above and beyond and gave me several stickers. Love yourself first. If death is this fucking beautiful, I may reconsider. Wow. This flowers coming out of a book. If I can't bring my Kindle, I'm not coming. And I'm a book lover. I love this one. I love the colors. And then it also came with this cute bookmark with some coffee or a latte. It says, "Hello, babe, reading time." I love that. Okay, some more Pango purchases. Recently, I decided I wanted to read some of Cara Bastone's more recent books that have been out. I have not read any of her books. And when I finished The Someday Garden, I saw some posts that were saying, if you like that, you should read this, and vice versa, because they both deal with similar themes. And so, as I already said, I loved The Someday Garden. And so I definitely wanted to get this, but I decided to get all 3 of her books that are out currently. So this is Ready or Not. I believe this is Accidental Pregnancy, Friends to Lovers, and people have been saying, even if you don't like the accidental pregnancy trope, you should still read this. Promise Me Sunshine, I believe she's dealing with the loss of a friend or maybe a family member, and so it does deal with themes of grief. And then unfortunately, this is my only Pango fail. This showed up with the cover ripped, so I did have to ask for a refund on this. But this is her most recent one, No Matter What. This says, a traumatic accident tests the limits of love and resilience as a couple fights to rebuild what was broken and rediscover themselves in this tender, slow burn romance. Sometimes love sends you back to the drawing board. That sounds very sweet, and also I think you can tell a theme that I kind of enjoy when romance books deal with themes of grief, just because it's something that so many of us struggle with, and it can be a defining factor in a relationship, how you deal with that grief and how you support each other through grief. And so I think that can be a really strong element in a romance novel. Another Pango purchase for a shelf trophy of one of my absolute favorite books, A Love Song for Ricky Wilde. It is about time that I have a copy of this on my shelves. I love this book so much. This is a romance that also has magical realism. I feel like we're also having a little bit of a theme with magical realism, where we're following Ricky Wilde, who is a florist in New York City, and she actually makes bouquets themed on historical events that happened throughout neighborhoods in New York that deal with things like gentrification. And she posts it on social media as a way to sort of bring attention to the fact that these neighborhoods have been so gentrified, but also to promote her bouquets. Now, Ricky Wilde is friends with this older woman, Miss Della, who has a brownstone in New York. One evening she's at Miss Della's, it is leap year, and she goes out and runs into this handsome stranger who ends up changing her life. This book is so dreamy, so deeply, deeply romantic, and I thought the magical realism was done so well. So if you haven't read this before, please, please check it out. Okay, the rest of these are gonna be newer releases. The first one is gonna be Annie Knows Everything. This was a total judge a book by its cover. I absolutely love this design and these colors. What can I say? I am a sucker for a colorful illustration. So this says, Annie thinks she knows what's best for everyone, but when her life goes sideways, the inner workings of her own heart become a total mystery. Can she stumble her way to happily ever after? And it also says this is a tech world workplace romance. Next, I got Nemesis Mine, which is a male-male rom-com set in a cozy fantasy world. For this next one, I actually bought this at Pride Fest from the author who was selling their books. I was wearing my demisexual shirt and pin, and they came up to me and said, hey, I have a book that has asexual and demi representation. And so I purchased it. This is called Rising from Ash, which is Forged by Fire, Book 1. The author is Jax Meyer, a local author. All right, so we have one character, Phoenix Murray, who is sick of her boss and accepts a job offer from her aunt as a cook in the South Pole. The other main character is Ashley Bennett, who is working on her PhD and is going to the South Pole to do some research. The end of this says, living at the bottom of the world means there's nowhere to run, and as they find common ground, their differences aren't nearly the hindrance they thought. A slow burn contemporary lesbian romance that shows the power of intimacy to form a new life. Awesome. All right, next is a new release. It is This Blade of Ours, which is the sequel to This Monster of Mine. I haven't read This Monster of Mine yet, but it is going to be on my either August or September TBR. I really want to read this now completed duology. Duologies and trilogies really are my favorite. I feel it's such a nice length, especially duologies, like it feels very achievable. All right, the final one that I have here, I am so excited about and also so sad about. It is Heartstopper Volume 6. This is the final graphic novel in the Heartstopper series. Look at the back. This comes out July 7th. I actually received it a day early from Barnes & Noble. I feel like that never happens. But to be fair, this came out on July 2nd in the UK, so maybe they're trying to make up for that. Yeah, this is the conclusion of Nick and Charlie's story. I need to go back through all of the volumes and do a little bit of a reread. I was actually thinking I might try to do a reading vlog of that, kind of going back to the beginning of the graphic novels and then finally reading volume 6. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see, but I am currently thinking that that's something I might try to do. And the classic teal drawings. All right, well that is it for today's haul. I do still have a few more books coming from Pango, but rather than wait for those, I figured I'd go ahead and film this, get it out, and then in my next video I can always show you the rest of my shelf trophies. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you aren't already. I will see you in the next video. Bye.